Hello, everyone. Today we have Mr. Priyanshu Sethi with us, who scored extremely well in his IELTS exam with an overall impressive score of 8.5 bands, with 9 bands in reading, 8.5 bands in listening, 7.5 bands in writing, and 8 bands in speaking. Congratulations, Mr. Priyanshu.
Thank you so much, sir.
Priyanshu, tell us something about yourself.
So my name is Priyanshu Sethi. I'm a rising senior and I'm pursuing non-medical stream. I have weird interests, to be honest. I like to read a lot. So that's why I got a really great band score in reading.
Do you think reading makes a difference?
Yeah, reading certainly makes a difference. It's not about how much you read. It's about what you read and how well do you read and infer it.
Great, wonderful. Priyanshu, what kind of books do you like to read?
I personally like to read all kinds of books. I'm a person who would just try all of the books available to me and read the ones which interest me the most. So there's no specific category. It's just about the book and the content in it.
All right. Priyanshu, let us talk about your daily routine. Tell us, what do you do?
So my day starts with studying for physics, chemistry, and mathematics for 5 hours in the morning. I usually wake up at 6 and study for 4 to 5 hours. Then I head towards my classes and coachings. After that, I hit the gym and get back home. I read for some time and then go back to bed.
Which school are you from?
I'm from DU International School, Amritsar.
Great. And what are your future plans?
I would really like to go abroad to pursue my higher education and get into research.
What kind of research do you want to get into?
I personally would like to get into research related to data sciences. That's what has always fascinated me.
Okay. So how old are you?
I'm currently 17.
Do you think it's the right age for you to take such a big decision?
I feel like there's no age to take decisions. It is a decision that can be reversed in future. If I'd like to change my streams or change my domain of work, I can easily change it in future with some work. So yeah.
And what country of preference do you have?
Personally, I'd really like to go to the United States just because the research opportunities over there.
Okay. And any specific university in mind?
Well, my dream universities are MIT and Stanford, so I'm going to try for that. Whereas I would be happy to go into any R1 research university because I feel like research is all about what you do rather than the institution you're in.
Great. What prompted you to go to abroad and complete your studies from there?
Well, ever since I've been a little kid, I've always been fascinated about research and great universities and having great college experience. When I got into grade 10th, I started looking out for universities all over the world, whether it's India or US or Canada. So I shortlisted a few universities for me that I personally found myself to be perfect fit. And either it's fortunate or unfortunate that none of the universities in India matched the interest or the domain of work I'd like to go in. That's what motivated me to go abroad for my higher studies.
You didn't try for IITs?
Well, no, I didn't try for IITs because IITs are generally something that prepare you for the job world and to learn different skills, but IITs are not really great, highly ranked or something in research.
So you're very specific about research.
Yeah, because my aim in life is to be a researcher. So I feel like it's never early to start researching something.
So why did you choose to take IELTS exam instead of taking TOEFL in case you wish to go to US?
I just mentioned that I'm interested in great universities. US is just a country of my choice because of the opportunities over there. I could go to Canada. I could go to UK if I get into a really great university over there. And IELTS is a test that is accepted by universities all over the world, whereas TOEFL is only accepted in the US.
So it's the flexibility of the exam that prompted you to choose this.
Yeah, right.
Did you do any research work before joining Webberz?
I did a research work of around 2 to 3 days before joining Webberz. I looked around the internet, I looked for reviews and everything. And that's when I was really confused because online, almost all the institutions had really great reviews. Webberz is something that I'd always heard really highly of from my relatives or my friends. So I decided to give it a try and I don't regret it at all.
All right. Okay. So let's talk about individual modules of IELTS. Priyanshu, in listening, what was your score in Webberz?
At Webberz, I used to continuously score band 9 in listening, and I was quite disappointed with an 8.5 in the actual exam.
So what happened in the actual exam? How did it flip?
Well, it's all my fault. I did not agree to the advice given to me by my trainers and wore shorts and a t-shirt instead of wearing full sleeve clothes. And that's what made me really freeze inside the testing center. And I just couldn't concentrate. Listening is all about concentration, and that's where I lost a band.
So you must have lost 1 or 2 marks actually in listening because you got scored 8.5. What is your take about multiple choice questions? People have a lot of problem with multiple choice questions.
I feel like I'm just like other people. I've been facing problems in multiple choice questions since the start. So one thing my trainer guided me to was not to hurry to the answers, because when we see multiple choice questions, the narrator is going to speak something about all the options over there. So what we need to do is first listen to everything, then infer it in our own mind and understand what he or she is trying to say, and then mark the option. That worked really well for me.
And that's a strategy that you used.
Yeah.
Let's talk about reading now. What was the score in reading in Webberz?
I scored around 8 at the beginning and 9 by the end of my course at Webberz.
So you were pretty confident about getting a 9-band score.
Well, in reading, I wasn't pretty confident at the start because I was getting almost all the true false not given questions wrong. But on the exam day, I was quite confident about that.
What was a stumbling block in reading? The question type I'm asking about.
So that would be true, false, and not given definitely. That's the question I've always struggled with, whether it's in my school exams or it's in IELTS. I feel like the strategy that worked for me was, if I'm going to mark false for an answer, I'm going to look for exactly opposite of that context in that paragraph. True is generally we all find. It's not really hard to find true options. So for false and not given questions, I would go for not given if I can't figure out exactly opposite of what's said in the question.
And what about headings? What about multiple choice questions in reading?
Well, multiple choice questions in reading are fairly easy as compared to listening, because we're going to read that passage again and again, and we're going to eventually find the answers to multiple choice questions. For headings, I'd say elimination method is the one that works really great. What I do is first I read the paragraph, then I go to the options and eliminate the totally irrelevant ones. That's when I'm left with 2 or 3 options, and I reread the paragraph and I try to create a summary for myself in my mind.
Right.
That summary insists my mind into choosing a specific heading for that question.
Perfect. Okay. Let's talk about writing now. Let's talk about specific writing task 1. Tell me, what was a task 1 in the real exam and how did you manage it?
Well, my task 1 was a comparative study about a map for a theater in 2010 and 2012. So I had to write that in past tense, and it was something that I had the least practice in. I usually used to think that I'm going to get a bar graph or something, and that was something I really practiced the most. It was something quite unusual to me, but luckily, even if I didn't want it, my IELTS teacher forced me to do comparison questions. So that's what really helped me. I used the pattern given to me and I just made it out at that point.
Great. Okay, let's talk about task 2. What was the question topic there and how did you attempt it?
Okay, so task 2 was fairly easy. It was about children living with their parents after completing their education. I feel like what worked for me in task 2 was limiting my ideas to 2 or 3 and explaining them really well. I didn't try to force a lot of vocabulary or phrases into it. I just tried to keep it natural and explain my opinion about it really well.
And how is your vocabulary?
Well, personally, I'm not really fond of my own vocabulary. I used to learn one word every day when I used to be a little kid. So that has really improved my vocabulary a lot. Even at Webberz, we used to be taught 3 or 4 words every day. And I used to try to inculcate those words into my daily conversation. So I feel like that helped me develop a really natural, great vocabulary for writing part.
So let's talk about the toughest part, that is speaking. It is toughest for many people, but it was pretty cool for you. You scored 8 in speaking. So let's talk about speaking. Tell me the whole experience of speaking.
Yeah, so frankly, I was quite intimidated for the speaking day because speaking is something I have always struggled with. I'm an introvert and I really hate talking to people in face. Even right now, if this interview would have been in real, I would be quiet for the most of the time. So when I reached the speaking center, I was quite fascinated by all the amenities provided to us over there, and we were taken really great care of. I had to wait for 15 to 20 minutes, and that's when I entered the hotel room. The first thing I noticed was a magnificent view behind my examiner. I just couldn't take my eyes off him. And that's when I tried to control myself that no, I'm here for speaking and I'm going to do it. I've worked really hard for it and I need to be my best at it. I went on with speaking. It was quite normal. I feel like the examiner tried to trick me at a lot of points while I used to talk about something, and they used to contradict me with my own options. So I feel like that's when my argumentative skills came up, and I handled it pretty well actually. In fact, I spoke a lot of wrong facts in my speaking and I was crying about it after my speaking exam. For instance, I'd say the Golden Temple in Amritsar. I told that it was built in 1980 while talking about a historical monument. So after my speaking, I was crying the entire day and I was hoping that I get at least a band 6 in speaking because all of the blunders I made. But frankly, when I got the results, I learned that being natural and being confident about what you say is more important rather than being great at facts. Because at the end, speaking is all about communicating your ideas, not about how great are your ideas.
That's absolutely superb feedback of the entire exam. Okay, Priyanshu, now I would like you to give some advice to our viewers so that they can prepare very well. What advice do you give them?
So the only main advice would be practice. Practice really well. Even if you're great at English, IELTS can be hard for you because we see most of the native speakers find it hard to get a band 8 or 9 in IELTS because it has a set pattern that we need to follow. So the first one would be practice. Another one would be try to use English in your daily life as much as possible. I personally used to watch a lot of English movies and used to talk to people from all over the world. That really helped me in picking up accents from my common conversations because most of the part in IELTS is impromptu. You don't know what's going to be asked to you. So if you're used to using English in your daily life, you know that if it's something random, you're going to handle it how you handle your daily conversations.
Right. That was absolutely a lovely feedback from you. Thank you, Priyanshu. Wishing you all the best. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.